Tomorrow we're talking about OpenStack in production. Ubuntu has a particularly special relationship with OpenStack. We've been the default platform for OpenStack from the beginning. And has been and still is much easier to bring OpenStack up on Ubuntu than any other platform. So we've accumulated a good deal of experience on what it's like to actually run it in production across a range of sectors, industries, countries, and use cases. So I'll be sharing some experience gained from that exposure.
Sure.
The particular sector that I think is most interesting is the telco carrier sector.
Mm-hmm.
So client confidentiality being
Sure.
being an issue, I can say that of the G8 countries, in 4 of them, either the number 1 and or the number 2 telco is building an OpenStack cloud on Ubuntu with Canonical. So we've got very deep exposure to large-scale planning and deployment for test, internal production, and public cloud purposes across folks who take traditional enterprise computing very, very seriously.
Sure.
And it's that experience that we'll draw. The announcement today with VMware, from a commercial point of view, if you are an enterprise or a carrier that has a large vSphere ESX property, you've got a couple of thousand machines with ESX installed and vSphere driving them, but spare compute capacity, you can now Juju deploy OpenStack, trusted, works, and then with a single command, you can Juju deploy a connector into the vSphere, and you will get support for that from the combination of Canonical and VMware, uniquely and exclusively for a period of time. So from an enterprise point of view, if you're interested in OpenStack and you have an established ESX property, that's a fantastic story. And again, it's Juju that lets us add capabilities to the thing even while it's running. So for some people, they built their OpenStack cloud 6 months ago, and they built out their ESX infrastructure 2 years ago, and they, without taking down either of those things, they're going to be able to type one command and connect those two, which is pretty fantastic.
It is. Is Juju really magic? Because this is the magic sauce that's pulling everything together.
The word literally means magic, yeah.
Yeah. So is it really magic? It's not.
No, it's technology. It's open source technology.
But to an end user, when you're talking to telcos, do you tell them it's magic?
No.
I'm just playing with you, of course.
We say, would this be useful to your development teams?
Yeah.
Most people who use Juju are going to be DevOps. So within an institution, you have 5 guys running the cloud, right? But then you have any number of developers, and the core question, everyone here is excited about OpenStack.
Sure.
Really, what we should be thinking is, okay, what do you do with it? So you stand it up, and then what do you do with it? And for an institution, the faster they can accelerate developer practices, the sooner they'll see value from that. And the best way to get people really excited is to sit down not with an OpenStack cloud and the sysadmins that are going to run it, but with them and a dev team, and then help the dev team essentially say, well, here's how you can pull off the shelf all sorts of great stuff, which is typically 70 to 80% of what you want for a new stand-up job, right? Okay.
Sure.
So you're going to have Postgres and Tomcat and some Cassandra. Bang. Well, that's done. Now, what do you need specifically to shine as an app? So we've taken the first 2 weeks out of the pulling stuff together and hacking it and doing it on your laptop and then doing it on the cloud and scripts for all of that. That's all just automated.
Sure.
And crowdsourced.
Yeah.
So that's pretty magic. Yeah.
Two-part question. What do you see as the biggest challenge for Canonical or Ubuntu, sponsored by Canonical, I think is your branding today, moving forward in the cloud, and the biggest challenge for OpenStack moving forward? And I assume those two visions are aligned, but they don't necessarily have to be.
Yeah, very much so. I think we are starting to see, so the good news is we're starting to see the core components of OpenStack settle down. Nova in this release, is an evolution of an iteration on Nova in the previous release, whereas going back 1 or 2 releases and there was a whole lot of tearing up and redoing, right? So we're starting to see that that's settling down. I think the major transition is the ecosystem one, right? So today, a lot of vendors who came to the summit feel like they have to set up an OpenStack solution. That's a little bit like saying that, for example, does your SCSI card driver have to give you a Linux kernel? No, they don't. They need to figure out what the appropriate formats are to deliver Linux drivers, and it turns out that doing source code together with Linus, so that anybody can pull any version of his tree and work their stuff, and doing certified and supported versions for common platforms that are in widespread deployment, right? That doing it that way solves the problem. You don't have to do the whole Linux kernel. You just have to be good at those two things. And I think we'll see the same shaking out here. So we've met with lots of vendors who came in saying, "Oh, look, we have to build a whole OpenStack. Can we take your OpenStack and embed it into us?" And they're realizing that actually, just do a charm, and then your stuff just plugs into a best practice environment. So that's the equivalent of doing a driver. Figure out how to express just the bits that add your magic, right? And off you go.
Good.